Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Creating Intuitively. I am Melissa, and I am the artist behind Sacred Solutions Art. For those of you who are not familiar with me and my work, I am a self-taught intuitive artist that is located in San Diego, California. I focus mainly on abstract art using acrylic paint on canvas, and I embed authentic gemstones and crystals into my artwork. I've worked with galleries like Sparks Gallery in downtown San Diego. I've featured in shows like Art San Diego by Redwood Media Group. I've worked with retail stores like Child of Wild, and I have had corporate sales to a few luxury apartment buildings here in San Diego, like Broadstone Makers Quarter in East Village. And my art is very inspired by the diverse textures and environments of Mother Earth. I enjoy working with earth-toned colors, and I find inspiration through the stones that I use, along with the sand, and I just love adding a touch of the world that we all call home to my work. And to me, Sacred Solutions is a physical display of inner peace within the mind, body, and spirit. And I say that because that is the projection and the result that I feel within the process of creation. And I've been an artist my entire life, but this specific art is very sacred to my heart because when I found out how to create intuitively, it really allowed me to connect with my spiritual guidance and my spiritual team, if you will. And the way I do that is I begin each painting with a prayer, and that prayer is followed by a meditation. And by tuning into my spiritual guidance, I'm given the inspiration and the trust and the confidence to go into each canvas and make a painting out of it. And I am a very spiritual person. I come from a Native American heritage. Specifically, my grandmother on my mother's side was Mayan Indian, and I carry her maiden name, which is Medina. That's my middle name. And I feel very connected to her. I have my entire life, and I bring her up now because she was a painter. And I do turn to her for guidance quite often when I talk about tuning into that spiritual connection. I truly believe that her guidance and assurance and comfort is with me when I paint, and she really motivates me to continue with this project. And I never really had the pleasure of meeting her in person. She passed away a few weeks before I was born, but I can confidently say that since I've been living on my own for the past 4 years out of my parents' house, I definitely feel her motherly guidance and energy with me every step of the way, just making sure I'm on track and making sure that I'm staying aligned and authentic. And so I bring her up because I just can't take credit for this whole project on my own. I definitely seek guidance from my spiritual team, and that is why this work is so sacred to my heart. And each piece is really curated with an intention to heal energetically by radiating peace and positivity and life within those who find themselves connected to it. And from working on this art, I've really seen it with my own two eyes when someone that I don't even know feels that same radiant energy from my paintings. And it's like without knowing me or my story or why I paint, my clients just feel my art brings them peace and light. And that is something that I'm so incredibly thankful for, and that I just want to shed light on, that feeling and those experiences of seeing a stranger fall in love with something that I made from my hands, and something that brought me to a higher level of mental perspective, of serenity, just by creating it. Those specific encounters are the times in my life that I have just felt the most alive in my experience on earth. And that is why this art is so special to me, because I've never felt that with any other kind of form of art that I've made. When I was younger, I used to draw, and I've done, different kinds of paintings, but Sacred Solutions is the one that's really connected me with a lot of amazing people. So I'm really thankful for that. And being creative is something that I have always tried to make a priority in my life for no other reason than it just brings me blissful, unapologetic joy. And to be authentic, I've struggled with mental illness for in pretty much my entire life. And I've had symptoms of anxiety and bipolar, even depression. And these illnesses have caused me to struggle at work and to lose some friends and even not do well at school when I was younger. And it's also caused me to develop some pretty harmful habits that I will get into in another episode. But art has been the consistent factor in my life that I have chosen to self medicate with, because creating really helps me heal, and I really stand behind that. My mantra is art heals, and that is the motto behind Sacred Solutions and the motto behind this platform as well, with creating intuitively. And art and Sacred Solutions really helps me connect with something that I believe is much bigger than me, and that brings me peace. And the way I create now, with doing it intuitively and going into each project without a specific plan or outline, and just really letting my intuition and spirit guidance take the wheel and just trusting that, has brought me so much peace and has really helped me heal. And even though my entire life I've been creative, I haven't always trusted my creative gifts and trusted my ability to be creative and letting myself just make what I feel is right. I've always tried to make sense out of my art, and I've always thought, how can I make money with my art? Or how can I get a good job with art? Or how can I be creative in my career? Rather than just making what feels right. And with Sacred Solutions, that's really just me doing that and me being unapologetic about what I make and really trusting my creative abilities rather than trying to make sense of them. And I believe it's so important to do that, because when we connect intuitively with our creative capabilities, magic happens. We align with our authenticity, and inner trauma surfaces that we're able to then face and mend. And for me, creating without an intent or plan has helped me cope with fragments of my life that I can't control, because I don't control my art. And somehow something beautiful and financially rewarding always comes from it, just because I trust my creative process. And I think it's very easy to neglect that inner child who knows you are an artist, especially as we enter adulthood. But I truly believe that we're all artists and we're all creative at our core. And I know for a fact that art heals if we let it. And that is a huge reason why I have created Creating Intuitively, this platform, this YouTube channel, this podcast, if you're listening on the podcast. And I've created it because, let's face it, 2020 has been one hell of a year. It's been hard for everyone in many different aspects. And I feel like for me specifically, I've gone through a lot of personal things this year that I'm sure I'll get into on another episode. But I've really confided in my creative gifts once again, and I feel the weight of the world. I am an empath. I can feel energy that is not mine. And I feel that we need healing right now, like more than ever. I feel like I'm crying, but I feel like we all need healing as a collective, and as we're entering this new year of 2021 and this new government, in the US, and as we're entering this new time, we need to step into it in a more healed and aligned place. And for me, I feel like I want to do my part by just sharing how much art has helped me heal and how I feel like it can definitely help heal other people. So for me, if one person hears anything I have to say on this platform and in this video and finds clarity from it, I've done my part. So that is why I'm here, and that's why I'm speaking up about how to really heal by using your creativity to connect with your spiritual connection and align with your authenticity. And 2 years ago, when I first established Sacred Solutions Art, it really didn't feel like making something new. It felt like I was coming home to myself. And I've always felt so heavily that this project was very effortlessly unraveled out of inspiration that was already within me. I remember thinking and writing in my first artist statement 2 years ago, I said, "This is what I do, this is what I love, and this is who I am." And that was really me stepping up as an artist and saying, this is already who I am. This might look like I'm making something new because I haven't created recently, but this is just who I am, and this is what I feel, and this is what makes me Melissa. And there's a quote by Spirit Daughter, which is a great account to follow on Instagram, that gave me some insight to ponder on that thought. And the quote was, "The magic you've been waiting for has been here all along, just waiting for you to see it." And I thought, how true is that? We all already have the utmost ability, the potential, the resources that we need to unravel our creative ideas and our creative gifts. And that process really begins, and I know this just from experience, it begins when you take the time to go inward and also just take the courage to trust your process each step of the way. And a huge part of that process is just making the first step to say, I'm creative and I'm an artist. And if you take anything away from this episode and from listening to me this far, I would love for you to just ask yourself, moving forward, how will I honor my inner space today and every day to make room for my creative visions to surface? And that's something that I will definitely get more into on another episode, because there are a lot of rituals that I have within my daily and weekly routine that allow me to have space for my creative process. And that's something that I definitely want to talk more in depth about. But how you treat yourself as an artist and just as a person and as a spiritual being having a human experience, because that's what we all are, how you treat you will affect your creative process and your art so intensely. And I came to that realization and that aha moment that I need to stop making sense of my art. And I started surrendering my gifts so naturally by just being honest with myself and starting to really wear that title of the artist with pride and just stepping into that. And I tuned in and I started to understand that I didn't need any kind of validation to be an artist. And I realized that because I understood that we're all already artists. We, as people, have made up these titles and degrees to put some sort of label or certification of achievement that you need to have to prove that you're an artist. And when I tuned into the collective and when I started listening to my guides, and I began to realize, like, Melissa, you already are an artist. You've been an artist your whole life. You've been creative since you were little. And I began to wake up to the fact that we're all artists, but some of us have just been conditioned to think that we're not good enough or we can't be this way. And we just start suppressing our creative gifts. And when we suppress who we naturally are at our core, which is very creative, spiritual beings, unaligned habits begin to surface. And that's what happened to me when I talk about those, you know, horrible habits that were formed from my anxiety and from my depression. And it wasn't me. It was not me at all. It was just how I was reacting to the suppression of who I was at my core, how my soul was reacting to me not being who I am at my highest potential, which is a very creative person. And as human beings, we really crave that sense of identity, that sense of this is mine. That's something that is just ours. and that something that just explains the depths of everything that we feel and see. And being creative is how you move that forward and how you bring that out of yourself and into a visualization. So for me, I say I've been an artist my whole life, but 2 years ago I started Sacred Solutions. And before I started Sacred Solutions, I really hadn't done anything creative for about 2 years. I went like about 2 years without really making any kind of real art that I was proud of. So there was a lot of fear behind stepping into my creative callings when I started to paint again. And it took a lot of courage for me to surrender to my artistic abilities and to even make something and to even start a project at all. And at the time, art had nothing to do with my day job, and I had no credibility as an artist other than the fact that I just felt it in my soul and knew that that's who I was. And I'll tell you that the result that I've experienced from moving fearlessly through my blocks has been incredible. I have the ability to connect with so many beautiful individuals from all over the world. And when I made my first painting 2 years ago, I never imagined saying that. I hoped I could, but of course, I had those blocks and those doubts. And now I say that, I have art in Wisconsin, I have art in Hawaii, I have art in Arizona and Las Vegas, my hometown, even though I live in California now. And, I've been able to connect with all of these strangers who I call friends now because we've connected through my art. And even though I could have never saw that for myself, my guides knew, my spiritual connection knew, and they saw this bigger vista of what painting could do for my life financially, mentally, physically. I feel better when I paint. So my guides knew and saw that bigger vista of what I wanted to create. And they just wouldn't leave me alone until I did it. And I'm so glad that I listened and that I did and, got that tap on the shoulder and I just surrendered and listened. And I really want to help guide anybody out there who feels that they are creative and that they feel that they want to be more aligned with their authenticity. I want to help guide you home to that truest version of yourself that shines brighter than all and give you the courage to really step into those creative gifts and wear them with pride, because there's really nothing that the art of yourself cannot heal. Whether you're a painter, a photographer, a poet, a drawer, a dancer, or you really just don't know yet, you are home here at Creating Intuitively, and this is a place for you to find support and guidance to help you create what is already within you. And I want to help you allow your artistic dreams and visions to surface and to make them a part of your life, making you someone that you are so proud of and that you feel at home with. And this is a community that understands that not all artists carry degrees and that not all art makes sense and that it's a messy process, but it's the process that we're here for. It's that process that helps you heal. And you'll be empowered here to rise above your fear and step into that truest version of yourself through art. So that is what I have to say here on this first episode of Creating Intuitively. And I'm so excited for the journey that's to come and for all of the episodes and things that we're going to be talking about and working through. And if you're watching this and you have any suggestions on, videos that you want to see out, please let me know. And I would definitely be more than happy to make something in a custom to what you are wanting to hear. And yeah, but before we finish, something that I love to do is I love to pull cards, and it just feels right to do one on the first episode of Creating Intuitively. And this is one of my favorite decks. It's the Starseed Oracle card deck by Rebecca Black, and she's the author of Light is the New Black, which is an amazing book that talks about tuning into that spiritual connection and your alignment as a light being. And she talks about how we're all light workers and how to really work our light to project the best version of ourselves. So it's a great read, but she made these cards that I'm so thankful for. So we're going to pull a card, but before we do, we're going to ground the energy of this video because a lot was just said and put out. So we're going to do a quick little guided meditation. So if you just want to close your eyes, take a deep breath into your belly, and connect with that spiritual guidance and the collective. And we're asking for assurance and protection during this massive time of transformation on the planet. And we pray that you continue to guide us to our authenticity, into our alignment, and to keep us all safe and healthy during this time. Mentally healthy, physically healthy, as we enter this new incredible year and incredible journey of 2021. Okay. Gonna pull a card. Okay. This is a gorgeous card. The artist behind this work is Danielle Noel, and she seriously does such an amazing job. So this is the card we pulled. Deep cellular healing, physical and emotional healing. So I'm really glad that we pulled this card because deep cellular healing is what I'm really wanting to project with this channel. And I want to show you how to have that feeling and to step into that process through being creative and through your own unique artistic abilities. So, thank you so much again for being here with me today. And I am so excited to continue with this platform. And I just want to, on a note of gratitude, thank everybody who has supported my art and my work this far. And I'm really excited for this new dimension of Sacred Solutions with creating intuitively. And yeah, just thank you all around. And I will see you on the next episode.